Welcome back to another episode of Thinking That Matters. I'm Elizabeth Mahusay, your podcast host, and I am here with my friend, and we network together. You come to Powerful Women Growth Group, Vesta Schneider. So I'm going to let you share who you are, what you do, and then we will dive in.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. So glad I got to know you, and thank you for inviting me to all the events and introducing me to all the people. You're just truly a leader that I strive to be, and I want to follow your footsteps. Who I am? I'm Vesta. I'm a local realtor, but more to that, I have two kids who are two teenagers now, and a few years back, I found myself having more free time. They don't need me as much anymore. So this whole new stage in my life that I'm trying to figure out what to do with myself, kind of as a mom, because they don't come to me anymore. So now I'm getting more involved in McKinney, in the community. I want to find the ways to give back, which I'm still trying to figure out where exactly I fit in. I'm a part of McKinney Chamber as well. As you know, we meet there every Wednesday, the best networking meeting.
For sure. So awesome.
With over 100 people every week. So I'm there on the committee. Then I be now on the committee for WAM, Women's Alliance of McKinney. So I'm just trying to find my way to see where I fit in beyond just being a mom and a wife and a friend. This is so new to me.
Well, you're doing it quite well. I will say that.
Thank you.
Now, the person, they're either listening or they're watching, they're thinking, where is that accent from? So Vesta, where is the accent from?
It's from Lithuania. It's a tiny, teeny country right next to Russia and Poland in Eastern Europe.
So I want you to share. Now, I know this story, but I want my viewers to hear it. How did you get from Lithuania to America? Please tell.
Love, just love. And so, when you're 20, you can do anything. Nothing scares you. So that was me. I was 20 years old. I came to United States for vacation and to make some money with my friends from college, and I met a boy.
I love it. Every time you say that.
That was it.
Every time you say that, I met a boy.
So we have this crazy story that I tell my teenage kids now. I said, don't go to strange country and marry some strangers. And when I met him, I had only my visa was for 6 months. So we dated for 4 months, and my visa was about to expire. So two brilliant young 21 and 23-year-olds, our idea was, let's get married for 6 months. If it doesn't work, we'll just get divorced and I'll go back to Europe and he stays here. And
okay, I've not heard this piece of
yes.
it. Okay, all right, keep going.
So after 6 months, we realized we still like each other. And then one thing led to another. We actually started dating while we're married, so a little backwards. And 4 or 5 years into it, we decided that we really, this is for real. And then we decided to build a family. And now this year, at the end of the year, we'll celebrate our 25th anniversary.
That is so amazing. I love it. I love it. So I have so many questions. Okay, but I'm going to start here because, even though Fred was born in America, his parents were native Filipinos, and, culturally there were differences between his family and his upbringing and my family and upbringing. What was that like for you and your husband coming from Lithuania? And I don't know a lot about culturally what it's like in Lithuania, but I have to imagine there were cultural differences. So can you speak to that?
Yes. And they still are to this day, although we've been together for such a long time. So I'll use parenting as an example.
Oh my goodness, that was mine and Fred's. Whoa.
That's really where it comes out. So let's say my husband wants to give our kids everything. And so do I, but I don't do that. I tell my kids, I just because we can't give you things, it doesn't mean that we should. I want them to work for it. I want them. So my daughter, 18-year-old, she just bought her own car with her own money and making her own payments. I'm so proud of it. Not because I don't want to pay for her car, but learning how to. You have to account. My bill is going to come next month. Here's how much it's going to be. Here's how the interest rate works. And it's that ownership of taking charge of your life is huge. And then I have my husband who grew up here, and he grew up having a lot, not in the meaning that very wealthy, but a lot meaning, when there's Christmas, you have lots and lots of gifts to open, versus when I grew up, there will be maybe 3 to pick from. There would be one a little nicer and 2 others, maybe a sock.
Right.
So 2 if you're lucky.
Right.
So even when it comes to Christmas now, he wants to buy so many gifts, and he has this joy of just watching them opening up gifts. When I say on my side, I said, let's give them less. I want them to work for something. I want them to want it.
Yeah, I agree. The parenting for us would be an example of where there are key differences culturally. Now, when you first got married and then you started dating after you got married, were you working at that point, or what were you pursuing because were you the 21 or the 23-year-old?
I was 21.
You were the 21.
I'm the younger one.
Okay, got it.
Yes. So when we met, the way we met, I came to this restaurant and I asked for a job. And I didn't really speak English. And the manager said, you can't work here. And as I'm walking away, my husband runs outside and he's like, you're hired. So that's how I got a job.
He worked there.
He worked there.
What?
Yes. He was a waiter and a bartender. So he said, you're going to come back 5 or 6 times a week, and you're going to be my bus girl. And he's just going to pay me out of his tips. He's like, if the restaurant's not going to hire you, I will hire you. So that's
Did he have ulterior motives?
Well, can I see it? Can I say it to everybody? He said he had plans for me. Let's leave it at that. Yes. And so I started with that. And as I learned how, I had to learn how to speak English. That was a big part of it. So as my English got better, I went from bussing tables to waiting tables to being a bartender, then becoming a manager of the restaurant. One thing led to another.
Right.
I had to learn how and assimilate to this lifestyle.
Yeah,
so I did it all.
So, so often that phrase that you just said, assimilating to this lifestyle, that can be really challenging. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't know how to speak the language. Were you able to understand English?
Yes.
Okay, so you could understand English, but not necessarily speak it well. So what was that like from a thinking standpoint? Did you struggle with frustration or impatience or something different during that season?
All that and above.
Okay.
It's very hard when you want something and you cannot. I didn't know how to express myself. And that's really difficult or I would try to say something, but it would come across, I would use the wrong word or the way I put words in the sentence. And I still do it to this day when I flip-flop from one language to another. My words are in the wrong
order.
In the wrong order.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and I catch myself doing that sometimes, but I'm like, whatever.
Now you're old enough, you're like, I don't care.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I can imagine that would be challenging where that's concerned, and you're trying to assimilate and feel accepted. Is that a fair word?
I don't know if accepted.
Okay.
Just to more understanding.
Okay.
The way people are raised in America is so different that the daily routine, the thought process, the belief that I can do pretty much anything if I want to, that was so new to me. So I had to figure out how to take it in and process it. I had basically two choices. I can say where I came from and my life was very difficult and cry how bad it was and live that life, or say, okay, here was my life. It was very colorful and I can take it, see what I have learned from it and move above it. And just learn from. I try to surround myself with people who are better than me, smarter. Look, I'm talking to you now. You have been there, done that, and I get to talk to you. I get to learn from you, and that never stops.
Yeah, I think that's important. Just what you just said. I have a whole book series called "Pick Your Path," right? So you could either pick the path of life was difficult. Or I love that you said life was colorful, right? I mean, that's a different way of thinking about it. When I think of something that's colorful, I think of it as, there's variation, there's, there's brightness, there's, things that I don't know. When I think of the word colorful, it gives me joy, I think would be the way. So it's interesting. You made a conscious decision to not hang out in the life was difficult. You chose to reframe that. And that they say in neurolinguistic programming, that is one of the key pieces for people in terms of being able to set themselves up for better thinking, is that they choose to reframe past experience. And to your point, you said move above it. So I love that you shared that. Now, because people who are listening, they may or may not know a lot about Lithuania. If you had to pick, I'm going to say one or two things about life in Lithuania before you left that made it hard, so that we might have some context or perspective of the choice that you made to reframe it, what would be your one or two pieces of your story you would share?
If you want to be successful, it's not based on how smart you are, how much you work. Legally, it is very hard to do it.
Interesting.
Because some part of your income goes to taxes, and there are other parts that you just pay to be in the game. When here, yes, we have taxes and but legally I can become whoever I want. If I work for it, if I put my time into it, if I educate myself, if I surround myself with the right people. So the fact that I have no ceiling. I am here today and where I want to be, even if I look back a year back, where I was a year back, today I have grown so much just in 1 year, but that's a choice. And I know that I can, and there's no one really can stop me.
Wow.
So that's a very big difference.
So that's a reality in Lithuania as far as the word freedom is what comes to mind. I don't know if that's the right word. It just sounds like there's not as much freedom to pursue maybe what you would want to pursue, or how would you say it?
Legally, it's hard to, and I keep saying legally because there are other side to it. You hear a lot about, third world countries have that. You give up so much to taxes, and another part goes to whoever else comes to take your part of your income, that you have nothing left.
Got it.
And so you legally, again, keeps repeating myself, but it's very hard to do. So or you have to become a part of something that is maybe not what you want to be a part of. It's shady.
So if you are left with nothing, I mean, that sounds like, would you say that there's a lot of poverty?
Yes.
Okay.
There wasn't, so I wouldn't speak of it as much now because I haven't lived there for a long time. Right. And yes, my family is there and I go visit, but it's still not the same as actually being there.
Right.
I'm talking about when I left.
When you were there. Right.
Yes.
Agreed.
That middle class wasn't there. You have people who are standing in line to try to get food and feed their family. And you have someone else who's driving, really fancy cars and living lavish lifestyle.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked you to share that is because I've had folks who have immigrated from other countries on the show, and I'm always fascinated by how living in a foreign country that is very different, the perspective that it gives the individual and how they engage here in America, how they view the freedoms that we have and the ability that we have to pursue, whether it's our heart's desire or our betterment, or to be able to earn more money to give our kids more things,
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Agreed.
Just very different way to grow up.
Exactly. Yeah. Very, very different way to grow up. I agree. I agree with that. I would ask you this because you've been here a long time now.
It's my home. And I'm not going anywhere. I love
we don't want you to go anywhere. We don't want you to go anywhere. But I do, you still had perspective building prior to becoming, are you a U.S. citizen now?
Yes.
When did you become a U.S. citizen?
Many, many years ago. Soon after we got married. Well, I think 4 years after we got married.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
So you're a U.S. citizen now. As someone who moved from a foreign country, I would love for you to share, how can we as Americans who were born here, we were raised here, we're still living here, and we may be in need of perspective expansion from someone who has had a different growing up to coming here, what would you share as a way to challenge us to expand our perspective about living in America?
I would say, first of all, Americans are the most giving people. Most people that I have met, they lift me up in one way or the other. So to say that Americans need to give more, I would not say that. It's more of just having a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I would not be sitting here today if somebody didn't give me a job, if somebody didn't help me with my English, if somebody didn't help me to figure out how to fill out the paperwork for the lawyer to get my the U.S. citizenship. There's just so many people along the way that already helped me. So I'm not asking for more. Instead, it's a mix. You can give me something from your life, from your perspective that I need to understand, and I can give you something. So just a conversation.
I love that. And, before we started recording, we were talking about that I enjoy depth of conversation, and that oftentimes we don't have enough of it. It's so very surface level. And you made a comment, and I would love for us to spend a little bit of time on it, because I think it's a worthy topic. That I said, what do you believe is underneath the fear of people going deeper in conversation? And you responded pretty quickly, judgment. And so I want you to tell me a little bit more about that. I'd like for us to talk a little bit about that, because I believe that we are in this space where there is a lot of judgment and there's not enough conversation, to your point, to use that word. But we need civil discourse, like the ability to have conversation where we are curious. So just speak to that for me. What made you say that there's not depth of conversation because people are fearful of judgment?
Without conversation, real conversation, friendships fall apart, marriages fall apart, business deals fall apart. And the reason it's so hard to talk about it, because let's say if I made a mistake and I come and tell you, Elizabeth, I made a mistake, I screwed up, like big time screwed up. It's embarrassing. But guess what? I screw up all the time. I fell flat on my face so many times in my life that now I know if I come and tell you, that opens the door for you to take me as I am, very, very imperfect, and we become friends.
Right. Or
you laugh in my face.
Yeah.
So it's better to have a conversation so you know people around you, who they are. But there are two people in conversation. One of us has to open that door.
Yeah,
be vulnerable.
Yeah, that's a great point. So in other words, one has to be vulnerable and
for the
risk
other one to open up.
Judgment.
Yes.
To discern, am I going to be judged, or are we going to be able to have a conversation about it?
Right.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great point, because you're a realtor. We have a photography business. I do executive coaching. So Fred and I are we're in service based. And one of the most frustrating things is when you disappoint someone and maybe you don't even know you've disappointed them, rather than bringing that to our attention, it's the 1-star Google review, or it's the post on Facebook about how terrible you are. And you're thinking, wait, what? Let's have a conversation about it. That's one of the things I'm now saying when I have a parent contact us saying, hey, we paid for this print and we didn't get it. And the first thing I say is, I am so glad you brought that to my attention so that we can do something about it.
So the other person feels that you heard them.
Yes. So that conversation piece is so important. But I'm appreciating what you said about when you're willing to be vulnerable, it gives you the ability to also discern who you want in your circle.
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Oh, 100%. Because now, years ago, it was something I was playing around with. I was not as good at communicating. And so it's growing. It's a skill. And today I do that on purpose because I very quickly know if that's a person I want to see several times a month, and maybe we're in the book club together, maybe we do yoga together, maybe we go on the walk, maybe we just drink wine, Italian wine, or maybe it has something to do with work. It doesn't matter. But I need to know that you're a real person and you're willing to be there open with me. Because if we talk about the weather and choose and, oh, please, come on. I can't. I have very low tolerance for it, so I just get annoyed.
Oh, my word. Okay, but we're cut from the same cloth where that's concerned. And maybe that's because, I don't know. You can see if this is similar to yours. We were sharing earlier, but I remember when I was growing up, I wasn't getting the new shoes and the new clothes. And my dad chose to be a commercial fisherman to get away from family drama. But what that meant is we were connected to weather patterns. Like when the weather is good, you can work. When the weather isn't good, you can't work. And when you can't work, you don't have income. And when you don't have income, then how are you going to feed your family? And so I guess that so often I think I could care less. Now I like nice things and there's nothing wrong with nice things, but I don't want to have lengthy conversation about nice things. Does that make sense?
No, I think we should talk about your shoes. No, I agree. And it goes both ways. And it goes, I'll give you what you were talking, how your customers would come and you say, thank you for bringing it to my attention. That's how I start a conversation. If somebody reaches out to me and says, I want to list a house or buy a house, I said, let's have an interview. I said, it's an interview for both of us to make sure we connect, we understand each other. And that's where at the end, if I get a review and says she was a really good communicator, I know I did a real good job. That's what I strive for. That's my goal, not to make certain amount of money.
Commission or things like that.
Which, of course, will work for money. But I can't do a good job. I cannot be a good friend. I cannot be a good wife if I don't talk. If I look at you sideways one day and don't say anything, you're going to start thinking, oh, she doesn't like me. I said something wrong. Is she upset? You start like building story in your head, and longer that story builds, the bigger it gets. And then people just stop talking because I don't think anything is wrong, but you think I'm mad at you. And now we're not friends anymore.
Exactly. And I've created a story in my mind. And, from a brain standpoint, what we think about expands.
Yes.
So if I've created a negative story about you, it just gets more negative and more negative and more negative. And then that's where it is. We just stop talking because,
exactly.
And I think that's because that people struggle to have hard conversations.
But once you start having real conversations, you don't want anything else.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. Because there's an authenticity, even in the hard, that is, I'm going to use the phrase, it nourishes the soul. Because I believe that each of us, when we look in the mirror, we know deep down that we're just a mistake waiting to happen, right? I mean, we're imperfect. We need other people, even if we don't want to admit it. And so when we're able to engage in hard conversations, it's like a moment to go, okay, I'm not alone.
Yes, I just had a conversation with my friend and I was telling her parenting teenagers, and there was something I had a hard time, and I'm like, I can't wrap my mind around it. Like, what do I do next? And she's like, I can't believe you're talking about this. That's exactly what just happened to me with my child. So that really, we connected over that because it's a sensitive topic, and I don't know what I'm doing when I'm parenting.
None of us do. We haven't done it before.
Well, there you go. Exactly. So to be able to talk to someone about it, and her fears were exactly the same as mine. But because we're able to talk about it, at the end, we both feel so much better because now we have each other.
Well, and that is the essence of community, right? I mean, that is a way in which you are able to build community and do life together. It's hard to do life with people that aren't willing to go deep.
You run out of topic about, what is the weather in Florida today? And then what is the weather in Texas? Oh, when I lived, there was so much grain in there. Like how long you can talk about it?
Not very long.
Not long.
Not very long. And it's boring. I mean, ultimately, it does become super boring. And then I think that it's just not the way that I believe we were meant to live. I think we are meant to be in community with one another and to have the deeper conversations. I don't think social media helps in this, because we believe seeing a social media post means we're connected to someone. And that's not the same as a deep conversation, because people can craft what they want people to see on social media. And then I also think that sometimes it's easier for me to say ugly things about someone online.
When you can't see their face and eyes. Yes. Because when you say to somebody's face and you see how much you hurt them, you immediately regret it.
Yeah, it's a different, and I think, so then what happens, like people can post without regret, which means they post more without regret.
Right.
Which then fuels the posting.
I started a book club, and I've had a book club for many, many years. But once we came to Texas, I started another one. And the reason I love, and it's real, yes, we do have wine sometimes, but it's like real book club. And this month, we just read a book, Theo of Golden. I think that's the name.
Fear of Golden?
Theo, like a name. And
I think I heard about this book.
It's pretty, the way it's written is slow to read, especially at the beginning. But the whole point is what we're talking about, connecting community and understanding people. So after all of us read this book and then we talk about it, the communication and the topic was, I want to be a better person. Like everybody in the group said that, I want to be a better person. How do I do things differently? How can I give more? How can I get to know my neighbor better? So that's how you get people to open up. If it has to be through the book, so what? We'll do it through the book. It doesn't matter. But a lot of us are becoming very close and very good friends in the book club because these conversations are kind of forced on us. And we choose to participate.
Well, and I think that's a big aspect. I mean, anytime you're connecting to a group, in a way, you're putting yourself out there just by attending. And, I think over time, then that's a great point. You're able to have deeper conversations because of a book or, or some other topic that comes up. I love that. I love that.
My friend Annie, and I'm giving her credit because that was her idea. So after reading a book, she heard somewhere an idea and she followed through. So she wrote what would be, let's say, eulogy. I think it's the right word. Eulogy. When someone passes away, what is it called? Eulogy. Wow.
Eulogy.
See my English. There you go. Potato, whatever. Or tomato. So write something in that style because when someone passes away, you write only positive things and you say only positive things. So she wrote that and only all the good things, and she said it to her mom. What do you think happens to relationship? Because
changed,
especially when people are so close to us, where go pick the kids, go get milk, that deepness can be lost in the daily routine. So how small book club, one book brought mom and daughter closer.
That is so awesome.
Yes.
I love hearing that. So, okay. Before we run out of time, I want to know, what got you into real estate? What is it that you love about real estate, or that, made you go, I'm going to do that?
It's people, not houses. But it started because when I got pregnant with my oldest, I decided I'm not going back to work. I cannot be working 16-hour days in the restaurant and just, I will never see my kids. So we moved from one house to another, and the first one, our first townhouse, we rented it out and became accidental landlords.
Okay.
And then I realized, okay, there is money to be made, just enough to help with bills while I'm raising kids and putting my husband as a priority and supporting him, but I also still want to work and have income.
Okay.
And one thing led to another. We had 15 houses at one point, rentals. I started flipping homes, buying home, renovating and reselling. And I was able to do that. And I got my real estate license for myself only 3 years ago, because now my kids don't need me as much anymore.
Yeah. So you have more time.
Right.
You have more time.
And before I did realtor's job for the big part because I would find my own homes, but
Sure.
they would sign off on the documents and everything. Yeah.
Right. So you got to experience it for yourself before you ever got your real estate license. That's really cool. Now, how many properties in your portfolio right now?
5.
Okay. So you brought that down.
Yes. Well, so a lot of them, this is not a political statement, but in most blue states, the landlord has lost a lot of their
rights.
Yes. So if someone can come into my house and just live there for free from 6 months to a year, I still have to pay mortgage.
That's correct.
That's now, as a business, I just can't do that. So we sold a lot of those homes and we started buying some of them in Texas.
Got it. Yes, that is understandable because it is a business and, you need to be able to pay your mortgage obligation on, on each one of those. Okay. That's helpful. I appreciate saying that. Now, what would you say is the role that faith has played? Because you were born and raised in Lithuania. You came to America. You met a boy. You got married within 6 months. Then you decided you liked each other. You're married 25 years. You're coming up soon. You have 2 children. You desire depth of relationship. So I want to know what has been the faith role in that?
I grew up without faith. And I was not looking for it. I didn't. It was not something I was seeking. But I would say maybe right before COVID or somewhere right there, my friend, she invited me to go to church on Sunday. And for whatever reason, I've been invited so many times. I'm always, no, thank you. But this particular friend, I said, sure, I go. And I went there and we were all standing and the singing started. I'm like, why is everybody singing? What is going on here? I'd never experienced that before. But it was just something, if I would have to explain what faith is, the only thing I can say is this feeling. I started crying and not a pretty, tear go down the cheek, like bawling, ugly crying. And I could not stop. But when it was over, everybody was hugging me and it's almost like I was watching myself from above. It's the weirdest thing. And it felt, so if I would be wearing like weighted vest, it felt like someone just took it off. And the problems were still there, but there was so much clarity. I still don't know which route I'm going to take, how I'm going to fix things, but it was just, I knew I can. I don't know if any of this makes sense.
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain. So I'm reading the Bible now. I haven't finished. I'm learning as I go. Very, very new to this. Very new.
Well, a couple of things that you said that really caught my attention. One, someone asked and you said yes. Similar to what you were saying is between 2 people, one person has to be willing to open up. And risk rejection or judgment or any of those things. So your friend asked and you said yes. And, and I also think it's important for people to recognize that in today's world, there are a lot of people, just like you said, you had never experienced like people standing up, singing, like what's going on. And I think that they oftentimes underestimate how inexperienced possibly someone is in that culture. That's what I'm going to say, in the church culture. And so what an amazing opportunity that you got and that you're reading for yourself, for example, the Bible and learning and growing. I love that.
It's such a private friendship with someone above that it's difficult for me to talk about it because I still don't have words to explain. But I'm struggling with it a little bit in some parts where I see that people, they like to say that they go to church, but maybe don't exactly live up to what they say. So I struggle with that. But then I realized that it's about me. It's about my faith. I'm not sure what's going to take me, but I'm learning how not to judge people who say one thing and do another, because that was a big discouragement for me, and still is.
Well, and I think that's it's a great call out for the listener or the viewer that professes, whether it's Christianity, faith, and, to really examine oneself to say, is my life matching up, the way I live my life matching up with the words that I'm saying or the faith that I'm professing? Because people are watching, and it can help or hinder in many cases. What I am so appreciative is that you're curious enough to keep learning and determining that. Yes. And that is tremendous where that is concerned. I love that, because that's what I'm learning is it's about asking the questions. It's about being curious. It's about, my heart's desire would be that people would be curious for themselves, like where faith is concerned, and to not take, let's say, my word for it or someone else's word for it, but do the study yourself, right? Look for yourself, because God desires a relationship with each person individually. And there's so much joy that can come from that what how you were expressing about feeling like you had a weight on you, and it felt like that weight lifted.
But there were so many times I heard other people say they went to church and their life changed. And I'm like, please. I did think that. And then when it happened to me, it's real now, because I felt it. Nobody told me. I chose to go there, and I chose to go back again and again and again and look in deeper. So sometimes maybe just not the right time.
Correct. And I think that's why it's important that, just to circle this back and to draw it to a close, that it is about conversation, right? It's about a willingness to have a conversation. It's a willingness to reserve judgment. It is being okay with it not being the right time for someone, whether it's to profess faith or to say yes to going to church, and being patient in that. It is so important. And I think that all of these things are combined in that. So for example, we talked about depth of conversation. The only way that someone can get to a place of having depth of conversation with God is to start having conversation with God. It only happens if we take action and we start having that, we open that door.
But I think you have to be open with yourself first. The easiest person to lie to is to yourself. Oh, I didn't get this done because I was so busy today. Well, were you really, or did you choose not to? So it's those little things. If you cannot be open with yourself, it's hard to be open to other people. It's hard to be open to faith, because it's easy. It's way easier to lie.
Well, I'm going to agree with that, because we have a lot of that going on. We all, at the end of the day, we all are faced with, multiple choices throughout the day to be truthful or lie with ourselves, with other people. It's so important that we really keep that at the forefront.
And that being said, I just want to make it clear. That doesn't mean I don't say bad things, or, sometimes things come out of my mouth. I'm like, oh, I should not have said that. That was not right. So I do say that. I don't think there is such thing as perfect balance of you just good all the time.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Not until we just drop this earthly body.
Right. Right. Just catch yourself and say, okay, maybe next time I should say different.
Well, and I think it's also too, one of the ways that you create depth is, so let's say you and I are talking and I say something that I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. It's being willing to go, Vesta, please forgive me. I should not have said that.
And then I should be open enough and say, okay, thank you for saying that. Let's just move on. And that's over.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's being willing to have short accounts when we offend, and we become aware of it, or we drop the ball and we become aware of it. So it does so many things. We could talk for like another hour. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for you. And how to get in contact with Vesta will be in the show notes. So just take a look down below. Like and subscribe to the podcast. podcast, because obviously that's how we create more views. And also leave us a review, please. That's also very helpful as well. Vesta, I'm so grateful for you and the conversation that we were able to have today. And I'm looking forward to truly just continuing to grow our friendship and to see how you are engaging and connecting and leading in the community, because there is so much that people can learn from you. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for tuning in to Thinking That Matters. I look forward to seeing you back here on another episode.